Okay, so me I'm gonna talk about the true Sabbath, which is determined by the lunar, right? The moon determines the Sabbath day, right? And why sometime the new moon is a 2 day thing. Right, so Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 7. From the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in our perfection. Right, so man will use this to say, see, the moon is a full moon, the new moon is a full moon, because a light is, nah, so when a child is born, right, a child is weak, right, in the middle of him life, the child is strong, and toward the end of the child life, the man is weak now, right? Just like this picture show, right? Little boy, and then middle age him in him glory and in full time of him strength, and then when him old again, him weak again. Same way with the moon. When the moon start, right, is a dark light. On the right side, a little small light, that's the new moon, right? When it full, that's the middle of the moon, right? And when it both get empty again, that's the start of a new moon both come. Right, so from the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in our perfection. So the moon determines all of the feast days of the Lord, from the Sabbath day to the feast of dedication, all determined by the moon. Man, we are gonna go into it, right? So Ecclesiasticus 43 and 8. The month is called after our name, increasing wonderfully in our changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. Right, that's what the moon do. Right, so the month is called by the moon. The new moon cycle starts a new month. Right, and every month of every month of 4 sets of Sabbath day. Right, every 7 days is a Sabbath day. Right, in a moon cycle, a moon phase is 29 days. Right, so watch it. Right, you start the moon did start the new moon did start on the 25th evening. Right, so that night at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then the day the day I go be from the 31st to the first, right? The 31st at the 7th, 9th, at the 7th, 9th, at the new moon, right? And then the first at the 7th day, right? Cause evening was first, then morning. So after the new moon, you count your day. That's why you get your sevens. That's why you get your Sabbath day, right? And you get 4 Sabbath day in a moon cycle, right? So Genesis 1 and 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So that's why you get why you starting at the evening, right? So 7 days after the first light of the moon, right? That's the Sabbath day, right? So Exodus 12 and 2, the month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you, right? So Abib, hold on. Abib are the first month, right? The moon determine the month, right? So Abib, that's the Passover month, right? So the first day of the month are the new moon, Exodus 20 and 10. But the 7th day is the Sabbath day of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy mates, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gate. So none of them man they can do any work, right? On the 7th day, after the first day, right? So you get 4 sets of 7 day in a 1 moon cycle, right? So Leviticus 23 and 5, in the 14th day of the first month at evening is the last Passover. So the 14th day after the new moon in the first month, that's the Passover, right? So that always are gonna be a new moon, because within a moon cycle, the second Sabbath in a moon cycle, the 14th day of evening, right, that is always a full moon, right? So IUIC, Israel United in Christ, right? Them when you look upon them, how them do it, them use them use the full moon as them new moon, and them use the Roman calendar to determine them Sabbath day, right? So watch this, right? Them new moon did come in pan the 9th at evening pan October, right? And then you have the 9th at evening, the 10th at evening, that's a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, right? And then them do them Sabbath day. Them do them 7th day Sabbath pan Saturday, right? Friday at evening to Saturday at evening, right? But the new moon did dip on Monday. It hasn't been 7 days yet, because them man they now follow the correct calendar that the Lord did give us, right? The Lord said that from the month is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in our perfection. That are Ecclesiasticus 43:7, right? So the Lord said that the moon determine the month and the feast. Them man they using Roman calendar for determine the Sabbath day, because them new moon, them said new moon depend on a Sunday night, right? So how come the Sabbath not depend on a Sunday night or a Monday night? You understand? Because that are 7 days after the new moon. You understand? So when you mix up the Lord's calendar with the Roman Babylonian calendar, right? So Leviticus 23 and 2, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. So a man them will say, well, the Sabbath is not determined by the moon because it is not a feast of the Lord. But in Leviticus 23:2, the Lord said, these are my feasts, right? Verse 3, 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. And holy convocation, ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. So this is a feast day, right? So the Sabbath day is determined by the moon, because the moon is listed as a feast day, and Ecclesiasticus said that the moon is the sign of the feast. Right, so that's why Judith 8:6, and she fasted all the days of her widowhood, save the eves of the Sabbath and the Sabbaths and the eves of the new moon and the new moons and the feasts and the solemn days of the house of Israel. Right, so Judith feasts every day except the feast days, and that include the Sabbath days. Right, why? Because the Sabbath day itself is a feast. Right, so man them will say, well, if the Sabbath is a feast, okay, but we don't know say that it's done by the moon, because the Lord make the earth on 7 days, right? But him never, but him make the moon and the sun on the 4th day. So all you know say it no moon, but people don't understand say that 2 Peter 3:8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with the Lord, one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So when the Lord was making the earth, right, when Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai did I make the earth, right, it wasn't in a 7 days, it was in 7,000 years, because one day to the Lord, to us, is 1,000 years. Right, so you can't use, oh, I make the earth, I make the sun and the moon on the 4th day. No, shut your mouth, brother. Okay, shut your mouth. Exodus 20:11, for in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the 7th day and hallowed it. So when the Lord did do him thing, that are days with the Lord, man. Understand? Those were days with the Lord, right? So you check upon the moon phase now, right? Some days, see how the new moon did upon the 25th, right? When it did dark, and then the 26th it did light. Some days it take 2 days for the light to come back, right? And we are gonna get into that, car. Man, them will say, well, how come your new moon don't always line up, right? And then your Sabbath days are out of whack. Them man, they feel that way because them are use the Roman Babylonian calendar of Monday to Tuesday to Saturday and them thing there, right? Days of the week named after moon and stars and pagan gods, right? Them not understand, say the moon is the light of the moon determine the new month and the new feast days and thing. Even the Sabbath, yeah, we are going to get into that. Right, so 1 Samuel 20:18. Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. Right, so him said this at the new moon not tomorrow, right? So watch it. 1 Samuel 20:27. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. Why? Because sometime, right, which is the 2nd day of the month, which was the new moon, sometime the moon take 2 days for we get the light back after the light leave off of it from the last Sabbath day. Right, from the last Sabbath day, the last bit of light, till the moon get 0 out, and then it build up light again. Sometime it take 2 days. Right, so that's why 1 Samuel 20:18 did say, then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And then it came to pass on tomorrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? Right, because yesterday or today it was a 2-day thing for the new moon feast. Right, because that particular month, right, it took 2 days for the light to come back. right? And that's why sometime when you do your lunar calendar, right? When you look at the lunar calendar done by the moon, some days, some month in that calendar have 30 day and other month have 29 day, because that extra day it take for the moonlight to come back, right? So Genesis 1:14, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, right? So the moon is for days, right? And the sun is for seasons, because depending upon the position of the sun, whether it depend the tropical Cancer, the tropical Capricorn, or the equator, determine the season them, and the moon determine the day, because depending upon the certain moon phase, right? Whether it depend the first quarter, second quarter, full moon, it give you the determination of the days of the month, right? So Daniel 7:25. When the Babylonians take over, right? Because the Edomite people where rule the world right now, them base all of them ideology off of the Babylonians, right? So when the Babylonians take over, them they change up the time, right? Because Daniel 7:25. This is how we get Monday now and Saturday, and why people are confused. So how come the moon and the Sabbath don't line up with Saturday? Because Saturdays, that's why them have leap year. Right, them have a leap year. The most high of the moon phase, these people, when they make them fake up calendar, have adding a leap year, because them calendar don't add up. That should have been a sign to people, right? So Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and dividing the time. So this man, when them take over the world, right, Babylon to Rome, them change up the times. Right, them give it Monday, them give it Sunday, days after the moon, day name after the sun, day name after the tour god, day name after Mars. You understand? Psalms 137 verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation of, right? O daughter of Babylon. So Esau, the Edomite, them copy off of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us, right? So when you go into Britannica, you get the days of the week, right? So the Babylonians named each of the days after one of the 5 planetary bodies known to them: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and after the sun and the moon, a custom later adopted by the Romans. For centuries, the Romans used a period of 8 days in civil practice, right? So the Romans copy off the 7 day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, after naming the days of the week after gods and paganism and all that. Them get that from the Babylonian. Right, because before that, we just said day 1, day 2, the 6th day, the 7th day. You understand? Month 1, month 2, you understand? So, Ecclesiasticus 43:7, from the moon is the sign of feast. I like that decreases in our perfection. The moon determine every feast, man, even the Sabbath day, because man them say, well, the Sabbath day is not a feast. No, so the Bible just say from the moon is a sign of feast. I like that decreases in our perfection, right? The moon is a sign of feast. Let's get into the feast day them. Right, so Leviticus 23 verse 2, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts, right? 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. So this is a feast, man. So when man them say, oh, the Sabbath is not determined by the moon, tell them I'm a dickhead, man, dog. Them now read them Bible. Read your Bible, man. Okay? And stop teach heresy to the people them. If you teach the people them for broke one of the least commandments, man, or something that you consider not for be so important, and you teach man them for do that, man, you're gonna be least in the kingdom of heaven, and everybody are gonna be great, meaning say you're not gonna get in, brother. By thy words, you're gonna be justified. Some man them learn the true breakdown and them left out for one easier, worldly, friendly one, so they can get money from the people and deceive the people. You understand? Yo.